Well, the word icon isn't one to throw around lightly, but it is one that certainly applies to Margaret Atwood. The acclaimed Canadian author has written more than 40 books of fiction, poetry, and critical essays. She's won the Giller Prize, the Man Booker Prize, and countless other awards, which is why you might be surprised to hear about her latest literary offering. It's a graphic novel, a comic, and not just any graphic novel. Angel Catbird is a graphic novel with a hero who is, get this, part man, part owl, and part cat. She collaborated with artist Johnny Christmas, and I had a chance to sit down with Atwood to chat about her new book, the collaborative process, and the sheer volume of work right now on her plate. So for a book lover, sitting down with the creator of your favorite story is always a real treat, but when that author happens to be Margaret Atwood, even more so. Thanks for being with us on Your Morning.
Thank you.
I love how you started your latest work, a graphic novel, and I just want to read from the introduction. I love this. What is a nice literary old lady like me, an award-winning nice literary old lady, who should be resting on her laurels in her rocking chair, being dignified and iconic? Why is she writing a graphic novel? So why a graphic novel and why now?
Well, it seemed like the best way of doing what I wanted to do, but also I come from a deep background of comics. They were the culture for kids in the 40s, that and Saturday movies. There was no television, but they weren't just for kids then. Adults read them too, and let us not forget that Pogo in its day was a very political cartoon.
Which ones did you read?
I read all of them, every single one that I could get my hands on.
Tell me, Angel Catbird's, the character's name is Strig Felitis.
Yes.
I am trying to figure out where this name came from.
Okay.
I wrote it backwards. I thought it was a word scrambled. Tell me where his name comes from.
Okay, the Strig part, if you look at the Latin names for owls, you'll find where the Strig comes from. If you look at the scientific name for cats, you will find out where the cat part comes from.
I knew it was more than just an interesting name.
Yeah, it is an interesting name, but that's where it comes from, and all the scientists, of course, know it immediately.
I love that you've had such a hand in putting together these characters. You're not just, they're not just created in your mind anymore. You've had to do them on paper along with Johnny.
Yeah.
What was that process like for you? You've written novels, long-form novels, to write in simple language and to share this process with someone.
I've written film scripts, I've written television scripts. It's a lot like that. It's a collaborative thing. You're working with other people, and you know that they are going to bring a whole other dimension to what you're doing. In fact, many dimensions.
Do you like that?
Yes. When I'm not in my megalomaniac control freak mood, I like it quite well.
I want to put aside author Margaret Atwood for just one second and talk about you as a woman. I find you very impressive and inspiring. You have a long-term partnership. You've had commercial success in every decade of your career, and you're always growing. I mean, you had more, by the time I joined Twitter, you had tens of thousands of followers. You're almost at 1.3 million now. Where does that come from?
Where does it come from? I think probably nobody told me not to. No, I'm before the age of, for instance, creative writing schools. I'm before the age of a lot of the infrastructure that exists today. People think I have to have a career, I have to have a brand, all of those sorts of things. None of that was around. So we were just in those years, the 50s and the 60s, and to some extent the 70s, we were inventing stuff because it wasn't there.
That takes a lot of courage.
No, it doesn't. What are the hazards one would face? I think there are a lot of things that are pretty risky now, partly because of social media. And people who take stands often get inundated with negative comments, but none of that was there then. The worst that could happen to you was a snotty review. And of course, that did happen to everybody. You need to have at least one in your lifetime so you understand them. So I think it was risky from a financial point of view, but we always thought we would have to have day jobs. But everybody just expected that you would. You didn't think you would walk out of university and become a best-selling author, and those didn't really exist in Canada much.
Tell me about this new audience that's enjoying the graphic novel, Margaret Atwood. I saw some pictures from Comic-Con. What was that like for you?
It's a nice crowd. The Comic-Con people feel they're all in it together. And there's a huge amount of diversity and a huge amount of acceptance of whoever you may happen to be. So if you've got on a head covered with snakes, everybody thinks, oh, well, that's just the head covered with snake person.
Last thing before we go, you have so many projects on the go, both digitally, television, Netflix, Hulu. Do you ever say to yourself, all right, enough now, Margaret?
Well, luckily, I'm not in charge of those other projects. They're being made of my books, but they're being made by other people. So I get to consult and watch and have fun, but I'm not in charge. So they're not really my projects in that sense. I do sometimes feel that it's a bit of a pile-on at the moment. So it's Angel Catbird, Hagseed, my Tempest Shakespeare project is coming out in October, and that will also be a big project. Then we have The Handmaid's Tale, start shooting in September as a television series. Alias Grey starts shooting in middle of August as a mini-series, 6 episodes. And down the line, we have a couple of more ones coming. So the whole Mad Adam trilogy is HBO and Darren Aronofsky.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know, it's
You
big.
have more on the go
It's
than
big.
I have on the go. Please don't ever stop. Thank you for today.
Thank you.